Hello everybody and welcome to my final video for quite a while, most likely. Today I'm going to be going over the governor's map. I think that this, I'm not just going to go over the governor's map, I'm going to go over the governors, senators, and presidential. House elections take way too long. Democrats are expected to gain 5 to 15 seats. I think that will happen. But yeah, let's get into it. Sorry, I'm just looking something up. Okay. Anyway, let's get right into this. So, I am going to be characterizing the safe states North Dakota, Utah, and West Virginia, and Indiana for Donald Trump. And then for Joe Biden, Delaware, or not Joe Biden, Donald Trump, but the Democrats and the Republicans. So, those are all the safe states for either party. I know you see Vermont not put as safe for the Democrats, nor do you see New Hampshire safe or likely for the Democrats. That is because both of them are not. Both of them are actually likely for Republicans. Believe it or not, they both have very popular Republican governors. I was surprised when I heard it too. You're not the only one. But when I first heard about this, I was very surprised. But when I saw what types of governors they were, they are very moderate, kind of like Susan Collins in Maine. Obviously, Democrats, Maine statewide, like all of the districts and everything together, obviously favor Democrats way more. But Susan Collins was just that type of presence that people liked, and she won over their votes. And I guess that's the same thing in these two states. And honestly, it doesn't surprise me. But let's get into these last three states as quick as we can. Then we will move on to the senator's map and then the presidential map. Alrighty. Now, the next state for Republicans, I would say, would be Missouri. Missouri will be likely for Republicans. I could see it dipping down to lean, but nowhere. I do not think that it will be anywhere near a Democratic victory. I think it could get close, but I do not think Democrats will pull out the win. And in North Carolina, another situation kind of like Vermont and New Hampshire, they have a very popular Democratic governor. I think that this will be likely. There's always a chance of an upset, but I do think that it will be likely for Democrats. Now in Montana, obviously they do have a Democratic governor right now, Steve Bullock, but that is because he is very popular. And right now, a lot of Trump Republicans are just voting Republican. We did not see that when their Democratic senator got elected or when Steve Bullock got elected. So I am going to have to give this one to the Republicans by a lean or tilt margin. I'll do it by lean. But this is my governor's prediction. I'm not too big on governors. There's not many elections. But Republicans get 27, Democrats at 23. Now let's go over to the Senate map. This might take a second to load. Alrighty, the senator's map. Let me just go over all of these safes. Okay, I'm going to do this a lot quicker. Or actually, no, Kansas is not safe. Neither is Alabama. And yes, I would say Kentucky is safe for Republicans. Alrighty, well, let's go over this governor's map. First off, I will be characterizing Republican states because, as you see, Alabama and Mississippi are not characterized. That is because Mississippi is a special election, and Republicans most likely will not win it tonight. But Democrats won't win it when it does go to a runoff. And in Alabama, there is a Democrat incumbent, but that was because his opponent, I believe, was a sex offender. And obviously people did not win that. And he had like the narrowest victory of all. I think he had under 1 percentage point, which is honestly sad when you're running against somebody who was a child predator or just a sexual offender or something like that. But I think Alabama will be likely because obviously the opponent this time is not a sex predator. And Kansas, or not Kansas, I'm going to come back to Kansas, but New Mexico I would characterize as likely. Same thing with Colorado. Same thing with Minnesota. Honestly, Virginia is safe. I don't know why I didn't characterize it. But these are the three likely states that I do have for the Democrats. That would be Minnesota, Colorado, and New Mexico. Colorado will actually be the first pickup for Democrats tonight, and Alabama will be the only pickup that Republicans will get, besides maybe Michigan if they're lucky. But yeah, these are the likely states. John Hickenlooper, I think, will win. He has a very strong presence, and I think that he will win. New Mexico, I could characterize as safe, but I'm going to keep it as likely for now. Alrighty, now we are moving on to lean states. All of the rest of these will either be lean or tilt. Lean for the Republicans. All three of those. Yeah, all three of those. Alaska, Kansas, and South Carolina. South Carolina, I will start off there. Jamie Harrison obviously raising out Lindsey Graham by a lot. Like a lot. But South Carolina is just generally Republican, so I do not think that it will go to Jamie Harrison. I think it is a big waste of money, but money well spent if he had a good chance of winning. And Kansas and Senate and governor races are just typically decently close. Like, they do have a Democratic governor, which is surprising for most of you, but I'm pretty sure she or he won in 2018. They were hoping that the senator would go against the same opponent, but they're not. But the opponent is not super well known. I believe his name is something Marshall, Robert Marshall. I don't know. But, oh wait, and Texas is lean. I'll go to that. But, yeah, I do think that Kansas will stay in the hands of the Republicans, though. And Texas, John Cornyn is just way more popular than his Democratic opponent. Typically, Senate races are better for Republicans than general elections, not counting 2018. Ted Cruz is very unpopular, but yeah, that is Texas for you. In Alaska, I believe the Republican there is Dan Sullivan, and then there is an incumbent running who is actually the one scaring off the Republican loss, and I could see him winning, but I just don't, because even independents and Democrats combined in Alaska, I do not think that they could overtake Republicans in the Senate. Alrighty, now we have all of these states. These will either be lean or tilt. For state that, I have two. Or actually, I have one more lean Republican that I'm going to get to. And then I have two lean Democrat, which would be Michigan and Arizona. Michigan, Gary Peters going against John James. This is where I'm from. I should have known that way quicker. I thought that it was Jamie Harrison. But, yeah, Gary Peters against John James. John James just did not throw a great campaign. He lost in 2018. I think that will come back to haunt him again in 2020, with it being another Democratic wave year. I do not think that he has a good chance of winning, and especially being from Michigan. In my little county, it is a very Republican county. You see a lot of Trump signs, not that many oh my God, I almost said Jamie Harrison again. John James signs. That doesn't mean anything. Those voters will probably vote for John James anyway. I'm just saying that his name is not super duper well known. And in Arizona, Mark Kelly has always had a strong lead. I was going to put this as likely, but I don't think that it will be anywhere near a likely margin. I think he will win by around 4 or 5 percentage points, just because Martha McSally is a bandwagon and she is very unpopular. Now, the last Republican lean state, if you can guess it, it is Montana. Obviously, Steve Bullock is running against Steve Daines. Steve Daines is the incumbent, which does lead him to a little bit of power. But I do think that Steve Daines will come out with a win, because at first I did think that Montana would go to Steve Bullock, but I have since changed opinions because we just have not seen that much hype. Steve Daines has pulled ahead in the polls, and when a Republican is ahead in the polls, you already know that state most likely won't go to Democrats. But yeah, I do think Montana will be lean overall. But yeah, you don't really see a Republican lead in a state going to Democrats unless you're Nevada in 2016. Alrighty, now the rest of these will all be tilt. Just fair warning. First state I'm going to go over is Iowa. Iowa I did actually have in the Democratic column, but since I have, I do think that it will go to the Republicans. Greenfield has just lost a lot of her juju. So has Joe Biden in the state, and I think that will lead her to a loss. Just overall, I do think that it will be a tilt for the Republicans. And as for Democrats, the first tilt state that I have would be North Carolina. Thom Tillis, very unpopular. I definitely could see this state differing on the presidential level, but on the Senate level, I do see it going to Democrats. Could go to Republicans. I'm not discrediting that, but I do think that it will go to Cal Cunningham. Now, for Republicans, Georgia regular, which is David Perdue versus, I believe, Mr. Ossoff. I think that it will be a very close race. I could see this one going away. Same with the other one that I'm going to characterize in just a second. But overall, I do see David Perdue winning. His numbers have been going down significantly, but I do think that he will slightly edge out the victory in Georgia. Now, more good news for Democrats. I see Maine going to Sarah Gideon. Since a couple months ago, the race has narrowed quite a bit. But it is election day today, and I do think that Sarah Gideon is going to pull away with the win because there just isn't more time for Susan Collins, which sucks for a lot of these candidates. There's just not more time. And if there was more time, I do think some of these could trend towards Democrats and some of them could trend towards Republicans. For Democrats, for example, I think Montana could swing back a little bit towards them. I think Iowa could have a chance of swinging back. I think Alaska could have a chance of swinging back. Texas, maybe, probably not. And for Republicans, I could see North Carolina swinging back. I could see Arizona possibly swinging back. And I could see Maine swinging back as it is. But there's just not any more time. Alrighty, and in the special election, I think that will also go to Democrats. I believe it is Mr. Warnock. I don't know if I got that right. Versus two Republicans. I remember one of their names, Kelly Loeffler. Then I don't remember the other one, but I do know that there are two Republicans in that race versus one Democrat. It is a special election, so multiple candidates can run. There is no primaries. But I do think that split Republican vote will be very bad for them, as if the Democratic challenger just gets above 50%, that is a guaranteed win. And if it does go to a runoff, I could definitely see the Democratic challenger winning that. Alrighty, well, this is my Senate election prediction. You saw Republicans win the governors. Now Democrats won the Senate. They are actually predicted to win 52 seats, which I think could be either Georgia's regular or Iowa, but it's probably dipped down, according to 538, that is. Now, presidential, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. This one is the first poll closings for me. This is it is 5:29 for me. So the first polls will be closing in about 30 minutes. Sheesh. My anxiety has been going up quite a bit. If you know me, you know who I support, and you know how much your anxiety has probably went up too, because this has been a stressful election. I mean, no matter what side you're on, this should have been a decently stressful election. Unless you're one of those Republicans that just doesn't care and think Trump is going to win in a landslide anyway. This was probably a stressful election for you, at least stressful enough. But, yeah. Anyway, let's get into this big prediction. So in New Hampshire, we actually saw at about 7 a.m. or earlier, a county in the little top part showed 26 votes. They only put in 26 votes. Donald Trump had 16, Joe Biden had 10. I found that very funny. I don't think Donald Trump will win. I think that this will be likely for Joe Biden. I think that was just funny because it was from up here. There's like nothing up here. The two big cities, Manchester and I forget the other one, but I'm pretty sure it starts with an H. But their two major cities are right down there, and they have not even been started to count. So, and that's the only place where precincts have reported. So I think we are going to have to wait till later in the night. Virginia overall, I think, is just changing towards the Democratic Party. I do think that it will be a win for the Democrats, nonetheless. I'm very strong for the Democrats, and I think that will go for the Democrats. New Mexico and Colorado, two states that I think alike of. I think Colorado and New Mexico will both be by double digits. They could obviously drop down to single digits, but I do not think that there's a chance of Donald Trump winning either of them. Alrighty, now for Donald Trump. Alaska, Mississippi, South Carolina, Missouri, Indiana, and Montana. There's really no need to talk about these states because they are basically safe. I just think that they will be likely margins. So we don't really need to talk about that. Alrighty, well, now let's get into the actual swing states and districts. Woo! Alrighty. Minnesota, I think, will be a win for Joe Biden. I think he will win it by around 7 percentage points. I think that he will narrowly edge out a likely margin, but either way, I do think that it will be a likely state for Democrats. Same thing with Michigan. Michigan, we've actually seen a high influx of voter turnout. Actually, very bad news. Voter suppression happened in Flint, Michigan. Don't think that it'll change much, but apparently there have been robocalls of people, of Republicans, not necessarily funded by the Trump campaign, but targeting black Democrats in Flint, Michigan, Democrats, black people in Flint, Michigan, saying that they can vote tomorrow because lines are so packed. That is not true. Polls close at 8 p.m. EST, but that is a blatant lie, and that is obviously a horrible thing to do. Alrighty, now we are done with likely states. All of the rest of these will either be leans or tilts, and I am actually going to add a color because I feel like it. Because what color should it be? I'll make it pink. Why not? This will basically mean I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. We will have to see. Basically, these are states that I have no freaking idea about. I don't know. I just don't know. It's as simple as that. Anyway, yeah, lean and tilt states. First lean state, I think, will be Nevada. Surprisingly, I do not think that Nevada will be as safe as Michigan or Minnesota. Obviously, you would expect Nevada to be likely blue, but Joe Biden's numbers have dropped, and it is expected to be closer than Michigan and Minnesota. And Wisconsin. Wisconsin, I think, will be very close to a likely state, but I think that it will go to a lean. I think that it will be very close. Or not very close, but I think that it will be decently close. I think it will be called around midnight, maybe a little later. We are actually supposed to have a good idea of who the winner is by 3 or 4 a.m. I'm going to try and stick it all out. I'll probably fall asleep on my couch and wake up to the election starting to be called, but yeah, I think that it will be called around midnight, maybe a little bit later. Alrighty, now a little good news bears for Donald Trump. I would put Ohio in his column as lean. I think that it will be a close state, but I think that he will win it by a little over a percentage point, which, if you don't know, is classified as lean. Yes, I am going off regular characteristics. Over 5% is likely, under 5% is not. And then 1% or below is tilt. Anything from 1.1% to 5% is lean. And I do see Ohio being a little over 1%, but you never know. Ohio would be one of the states that IDK we have to see, but it's not necessarily close enough to do that. I believe Donald Trump has a 51% chance of victory, which is obviously not good whatsoever, but you never know. Alrighty, and for Joe Biden, I will put Nebraska's 2nd district as lean. I think that it will be a lean district. I think that he has a good lead. I could see it going for Donald Trump, of course, but right now I am going to give it for Joe Biden. Recently, I have classified it as likely. I am moving it down 1 notch. Same thing with Wisconsin and Nevada, I believe. Now, Maine 2nd district. I pretty much always characterize this as lean Republican. I just think that the swing in 2016 was way too much. It was about 10% in Donald Trump's favor. Obviously, that does happen a lot in districts just because of how small the population is and how much their votes can sway. Alrighty. Now, there is, let's see, 2 or 3 more states that I'm classifying as lean, and one of those is Pennsylvania. For Joe Biden, Pennsylvania, it's gonna be a close state, and it will most likely put Joe Biden or maybe Donald Trump over the tipping point. But I don't know. I think that it will be a close state. I think Joe Biden will win it by around 2-3 percentage points. Yeah, we'll know. We will know by 3 days after Election Day at worst. 3 a.m. at best, most likely. 12 to 3 a.m. at best. Same thing with most of these states. Alrighty, now one lean for Donald Trump I would put as Iowa. Recently, Iowa has been a very competitive state, but Donald Trump has pulled ahead and gotten a bit of a lead there. I just don't see Joe Biden winning Iowa and not winning Ohio, so realistically, I am going to put it as a lean Republican. Now, every single one of these last states will be tilt. Every single one. I mean, it's surprising because Donald Trump hasn't even reached 200 votes, and Joe Biden hasn't even, Joe Biden has passed 270, but I was about to say Joe Biden hasn't even passed 270, but he has. I'm going to say 3 of these states are going to be IDK we have to see, but 2 of them I will classify right now. One of them being North Carolina. North Carolina, according to RCP, Trump has been pulling ahead. According to 538, this race has been getting tighter and tighter as it is the second closest state for Joe Biden, I believe. But personally, because of the 2016 swing and because of how much it underestimates Republicans in the polling, I am going to give it to Donald Trump. Just like how Nevada underestimates Democrats, I think North Carolina underestimates Republicans. So do most of these states, but in states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, that would just be way too much of a swing for Donald Trump to even win there. So I am characterizing North Carolina as tilt. And as for Joe Biden, I see Arizona as tilt, and you can probably see the 3 states that I'm going to put as IDK we have to see. But Arizona, I definitely could see it as Joe Biden winning it by over 1%, but as of right now, I think it will be 0.8, 0.9%. I think it will be closer than we think. I think it will favor Republicans by a little bit, but we will see. Just like these 3 states, IDK, we will have to see. Texas, I don't know. There's been so much evidence that it's going blue, but polls do not reflect that. Polls reflect that Donald Trump has about a 1% lead. And honestly, it's going to be very close. Young vote has risen 400%. Let me say that again. 400% than it was in 2016. Young vote, not all vote, but young vote. Vote in general, before these polls have even opened today, were over 100% what they were in 2016. 8 million people voted in 2016, and there is an estimated 12 million people that are going to be voting. I can only suspect that a lot of them will be Democrat. I cannot put my finger on it. But we will have to see. Same thing with Georgia and Florida. IDK. We will have to see. Georgia will be very close. It is favored to go for Joe Biden. Same thing with Florida. But there's been a lot of evidence to say that Florida is Republican and a lot of evidence to say that it's Democrat. Georgia, I just don't freaking know. Georgia, there haven't even been trends going either way. I mean, I've seen a lot of more Democrats voting on TikTok, but that doesn't mean anything, so I really don't know. We will have to see. But yeah, this is my final election prediction before all hell breaks loose. But, I mean, yeah, we will see, most likely by 4 a.m. But thank you for watching this video, even if you skip to the end. And I probably won't see you guys for a while, unless I make some video reviewing the election. But yeah, I will see you guys. Or actually, I'll probably make a video comparing my prediction right here to the actual thing that happened. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys when I do that.